Hello everyone, welcome to this miniatures ramble for Monday the 4th of September 2017, new month. I'm Dakian as always, and I thought I'd start out with the big eyes this time. I painted up the two frost giants. Have to hold them at a distance to get the whole thing in one shot, which is good because that means the roughness of some of the detail doesn't show just as much. Yeah, they came out okay, I think. The weapons, I tried to paint them like they're made of ice, some magic ice weapons. I'm not sure how convincing it is. You might notice it's the exact same color combination as the hair. The only difference is that I put a gloss varnish on the ice at the end to make it a little bit more reflective. I don't know if you can see it against a dark background here. While I left the hair matte. Yeah, not much to say really. And I also finished two more of these dark sword miniatures. Here we have the little mage, which was mostly an experiment in painting different colors, trying out a new recipe for red and yellow, and then using various greens as a neutral background. Not sure if the color combination works really, but oh well. And here we have the Elven Princess, which is the most unusual thing I've done with her is this tattoo on her thigh. There was a section on the DVD that I'm working on about freehanding, and where Jen Haley paints this particular pattern, which I copied from her. However, I didn't use the exact same technique. She does it with a paint and a brush, and I've tried doing tattoos that way before, but I decided to do something different this time. I tried out a new tool, a new little cheat, namely a pen. This is called an artist pen. It's cobalt blue. It is ink, but unlike perhaps the Micron pens, which you might be familiar with, these don't have a hard point, they have a soft point. They come to a very sharp point, but the thing with this point, it's a fiber tip, meaning that you can apply different amounts of pressure and release different amounts of ink as you do so. You can draw a light line or a thick line. And it's slightly translucent, of course, which is a good thing in this case. And so what I did was I very carefully traced out the pattern, and then I went over it a couple of times to make it a little bit more solid, and then finally I glazed over it with a thin mix of the skin tone I've been using, the flesh tone, which is Pale Flesh by Vallejo Game Color. I think it came out reasonably well. I'm rather pleased with that. Yeah, so a new tool tested and found to work. Good work for this week. And well, there's a lot of stuff here on the painting table. I don't keep it all right here in the painting space. I'm just gathering it here so you can see everything in one shot. All of these figures have gotten some more paint put on them, and I'm continuing to work on them. As for the remaining Darksword miniatures, they're all at least like 75% done. The main things left to do, the techniques I want to practice, are for these two. I still have the urge to practice some NMM on their swords, doing a non-metallic metal effect. This one is pretty much done apart from that, like 95% done. This one still needs highlighting and shading of the armor and this skirt. But then she's done except for the sword. Yeah. I need to review the NMM section on those DVDs. I don't recall if they were any good or helpful. What I do know, because I've just reviewed them, is these three, they all need some OSL effects. This one has a torch, and this one has a sort of magic wand effect here with a glowy effect. And these two are the ones they show on the DVD. This one I've decided for myself I want to do OSL on. I think this skull should have a glow. It should be a magical effect. It's not an actual skull, it's a magical illusion or something. And it should give off a glow, casting some light on her, mostly because she's very dark. It's really only going to be visible on the hair, I think. But I need to finish her. I don't know what it is. It's some sort of corset. There's a little bit of a chainmail loincloth here. I'm not sure if it's chainmail on the sides or if it's just leather, and there's lacing in front. It's really hard to see when the detail is this tiny. Anyway, what I was going to say about the DVD is that the OSL section goes into a lot of description of where to put the light and how much, as in how far do you bring the OSL effect on the miniature and exactly which areas will get hit, and it all just amounts to drawing straight lines in your mind from the source, and then you can figure it out. I mean, that's not really difficult. However, this DVD does not say a single word about the application of paint. How do you which colors do you actually use, and how do you apply them? So yeah, again, I'm on my own there. Now, when it comes to the giants, I've mostly been working some more on the metallics. I have added some gold. That still needs a little more work. I've started base coating the fur, and I've worked on these cloaks, which I decided their scale. I'd say like to make them like red dragon scales. And the question there is how bright to make the highlights and how deep to make the shadows. I've been going back and forth. I've been dry brushing on some highlights and then going into some shades. Oh, the shade isn't completely dry here, you can see. Yeah, still not entirely happy. I don't really know what effect I'm looking for. I just kind of think that I'll know it when I see it. Now, on the spear tip here, I've been experimenting with glazing on some colors. I don't know what impression it gives you, but what I'm going for is the idea that the metal is kind of warm. I want a sort of heat effect. So there's a yellow and a red glaze, as if as if there's heat coming from inside the metal, and it's it should be warmest at the tip. I'm not entirely happy with it looks a bit too colored at the moment. I think I'll try going in with a light dry brush, at least on the top portion, with silver again, just to bring back the metallic sheen and make the colors more subtle. And yeah, well, I'll keep working on it and we'll see what happens. And so the final two Bones Giants have been based, prepped, and primed, and I've gone for this sort of pre-shaded, or rather pre-highlighted zenithal scheme, 3 different colors of primer. This time I did not go with a straight black for the bottom coat.
I'm starting to think that's a bit too harsh, so I tried for a dark gray. I don't have a dark gray primer, so I made one by mixing medium gray and black. But yeah, of course in the priming you can see some imperfections. You can see the mole lines running straight across here. There's not a lot I can do about that. If I scrape them off, it just becomes flat and textureless. Example is here on the back of the head. You can see this mole line starts here, and here I've scraped it, and it just left a flat area. And I don't know if... I'm unsure what the best way to go about it is to just ignore it or try to get it out. And you can see here I've tried to remove one as well. It's unfortunate, but you know, what can you do? It's the nature of the bones material. And you know, I try to add some interest to their bases. This one has some split pillars. This one has a little treasure chest she's discovered, maybe? Well, who knows? Anyway, moving along. Do I want to prep anything new? Well, you know, I don't need to put much into the pipeline, but I think at least one new project can be added. And to start that out, I'm going to show you this. Not many people will recognize this, but if you followed my channel from the very beginning, you'll know that one of my first projects was to paint a space marine, a librarian, and I used a scenic base for him, and I didn't know at first which scenic base to use, so I painted up two options. This is the one I didn't use. This is the one I did not go with, but it's sort of finished. I suppose it could use a little bit of touching up. This gray here doesn't look that hot. And I need to reapply the black on the rim. But I decided, even back then, which model I would put on this base. I just never got around to doing it. And it's this one. So we're taking a hard left turn from fantasy into sci-fi. This is a 40k model. This is a Thousand Suns Sorcerer in resin, in fine cast, I believe it is. But it's reasonably well cast. It's better than most fine cast, I would say. There's no obvious warping of any parts, and there's no huge air bubbles that I can see. So yeah, I am probably going to start prepping this for painting, and it's rather simple. It's three parts. It's the backpack, the left hand, and the body. I'll probably attach the left hand. That doesn't seem to be in the way of anything, but the backpack, if I attach that, that would cover up a lot of the stuff around here, and I do think I want to paint that a little bit. So I will leave this off probably initially. Yeah, well, then there you've seen all my current and immediate future projects.
And as we come to the end of another episode, it's time to show you some more loot. I got my my August order from Reaper. The anniversary mini for this month was Elanter the Lost Prince, which looks like an elf of some sort. Okay, right. But what I got from the usual catalog was two of these box set. One of the Dungeon Horrors, which are some classic D&D monsters. A Beholder, well, a smaller version of a Beholder. It's possibly a Spectator. We have an Otyug. We have a Yellow Slime. We have a Carrion Crawler. We have probably a Gibbering Mouther. And not sure about this thing. Now, the interesting thing is this, half of these three, I've already painted as Bones minis. But it will be interesting to see, for example, this one. It's actually pretty close to this paint job. Mine is slightly darker. But it'll be interesting to do it in metal as well. Right, we need the others right here now. Oh, yeah, here it is. And yeah. Here they are. I painted this one not as a yellow slime, but as a gray ooze. And here we have the carrion crawler. Sort of similar. Mine's a bit brighter and darker and stronger colors. But yeah, that's them. The other box set I got was the Court of Abyss. Now this cover image only seems to say that there's one model in here, but if you look at the back, you see that there's actually 5 demons here, and they've been painted all in different colors for some reason. Not sure I'm going to do that. And they're mostly winged. I was interested to see how they'd solve that, so I've taken a look inside. And let's see if I can move this a good way. Okay, so the really big guys, the wings have really big, nice connection points, and I think it's this guy. Yeah, this guy has wings that are bigger than he is. Huge wingspan. But then we have a couple of female demons, succubi, I suppose, who are very slender, and yet they have these really big wings with tiny connection points. A little nub there and a little hole in her back. Yeah, if I just glue that on as it is, it's not going to hold. I'm going to have to pin this. I'm going to have to cut this nub off, drill into it, and sort of pin instead, and then drill deeper into the back and attach it that way. And also, this interferes with too much with, I think, well, because it's metal, I can bend the wings back a bit so they clear the back. Yeah, that looks a lot better. So, I already have a plan for these. Probably not going to paint them anytime soon, but always good to plan ahead. And I wonder where this guy's other hand is. I'll have to look around and see if I've missed something, or if I have to call Reaper about a missing part. But anyway, that was this week's episode. Click like, subscribe, and comment, and I will see you next week. Until then, I'm Dakian, and I'm signing.